The story of One Piece is a wild one, an incredibly large story, and we could have followed so many different paths, but we instead only followed Luffy and his crew. But today, I want to take another look at something random. So, let's answer a question today. What if a random character took Luffy's place? First of all, we're going to take a look at another random character generator. We're not going to take all 3 characters, but just like in Pokemon, we have 3 starter choices. So I'm going to randomize these 3 characters and then we will see which character will take Luffy's place. So let's do that now. So Bones didn't even get re-randomized. We have Bones, Harizenbon, and Zed. Now, obviously, Harizenbon, most important character in One Piece, we all love him, we would love to see how the story develops with him, even especially he's a fishman, so a fishman taking the place of Luffy's story would be incredibly interesting. But I want to take somebody else today, and he is somebody who wanted to be a hero. And no, it's not Zed. Today's story will follow Bones. Bones was the second in command of Crocodile, and now we need to think about this first place. Bones is still the second of command from Crocodile, or is he not? Because these characters keep all of their abilities, their original powers. He still has the cut fruit, I think that's his name, or the dice fruit, but he doesn't get the Gomu Gomu no Mi like Luffy. He's just there instead of Luffy at the very start of the first episode. In this scenario, let's say Bones is not part of Crocodile's crew. So instead, there's just another missing member in Crocodile's crew. Maybe every agent ranked 1 stage up. It would make sense, but we're just going down the line that Bones is not part of Baroque Works. He makes his own pirate crew, the Hero Pirates or something, and that we're actually following the story of a hero instead of a pirate. Now let's see how Bones goes through every arc, and we start off when Luffy sets off the island. First of all, he's going to be the same as Luffy when fighting against that Sea King. It's a one-shot, nothing spoken there. And then we go to Alvida. With Bones' strength, if we just go if he was as strong as he was in the Alabasta arc, he easily wins against Alvida. And that also because he wants to go down a heroic pirate path. He would obviously also help Kobe and give him more confidence and help him achieve bigger things. So that means he would take Kobe with him and also want to help Kobe in achieving his dream to becoming a Marine. So that would obviously mean they are also going to Logue Town. That would be the moment where Bones would meet his first crew member in the future. There's the entire thing with Zoro and the fight against Captain Morgan, and in my opinion, Bones is not going to have any problems here. He probably won't have any problems in his entire saga, but we're still going to go through everything here. So Bones against Captain Morgan, and I even think that Zoro actually finished Captain Morgan. So everything is going here just like that. Kobe gets left behind, joins the Marines, then gets together with Helmeppo and joins together with Garp. These normal things happen still, but then we have Zoro and Bones as the first 2 pirate members of the Hero Pirates. So I think it's a pretty strong start. Both of them are technically seen as swordsmen, so instead of like the normal captain and vice captain dynamic, or Zoro blindly following, or Zoro just having complete conviction of doing whatever Luffy wants to do, it might be some sort of rivalry, because Bones is seen as a swordsman, and so is Zoro. So they might continue to fight against each other, train together, and increase their swordsmanship abilities with that. So I feel like Zoro, with a continuous training partner like Bones, is going to get incredibly strong in no time. Especially because Bones was the only reason why Zoro learned how to cut through iron or metal. So Zoro is going to be stronger the time where he has his battle against Mihawk, and it's probably not going to change much anyways. So Orange Town, battle against Buggy. Now, Buggy did have the problem that he couldn't be cut by the good old swords. And now we have 2 swords fighters and no bludgeoning attacks. Obviously, Zoro and Bones can still use bludgeoning attacks, so I think they could still overwhelm Buggy. And they can also tank the Buggy balls and just the bombs and everything. Nami is there, joining them temporarily at the moment. So I feel like Orange Town, everything would go as normally. So Bones would defeat the lion and his tamer, Zoro would defeat the acrobat, and then together they would manage to defeat Buggy. There would not be the dynamic moment where Bones doesn't have to destroy it. He doesn't have to destroy it, obviously. because there was never the encounter with him and Shanks, because he was just there at the start of the series. So no Straw Hat getting stabbed by Buggy's daggers. It's just he gets defeated by Deathbones and Zoro, and that's it. Then we get to the next arc, Syrup Village, Usopp's arc. Yes, obviously Usopp joins, and we know Deathbones wants to be a hero, so he would not waste a second in wanting to help Usopp. A hero believes whoever is stating the things. Even if there's a chance the person is lying, a hero will follow his beliefs and do whatever he can do to support that person. And that is the reason why Deathbones gives the orders to his crew at this moment, which are half Nami and also Zoro, that they will support Usopp in the best way imaginable. So we have the normal fight with Bucci and Sham against Zoro, which he wins, and also the battle between Django and Usopp, just like normal, and then the biggest battle of them all would be Deathbones against Captain Kuro. First of all, I don't think that Deathbones is going to get hypnotized by Django just like Luffy did, but he still is incredibly strong. So I don't even think that Kuro has the ability to cut through metal, so when Deathbones turns his body into entirely metal or something, Kuro is not even going to be able to hurt him. So Syrup Village is going to be even easier than before. Deathbones is not even going to get hurt by that. Buggy maybe even did more damage to him compared to Kuro, but Syrup Village is over and they win in this part. Now let's get to our next crew member. Baratie arc. Sanji joins. We have the battle against Don Krieg. Don Krieg is not weak. He can wield a lot of strength and he has a lot of explosive power. So I feel like this might be the very first battle where Deathbones is going to have a bit of a problem because he's also a hero. So especially in the moment where there's the entire thing with the poison gas, I feel like he's going to have some sort of character growth, maybe learning he cannot save everyone. Even if he wants to save everyone, he just isn't able to do that yet. And that will be the character growth in both strength department and intelligence department. And he might even go into an enraged state, just massacring our boy Don Krieg as well. And winning the Baratie arc, and when he learns that he's a hero. And when Sanji learns that Deathbones wants to be a hero, he might join him, because Sanji, he just thinks, you want to be a hero? You want to be the Pirate King? And the scene where Deathbones drowns, just like Luffy, because Luffy fell into the water and Sanji saves him, would still make perfect sense because both of them are Devil Fruit users. So I think up till this moment, combat-wise and everything here, it's very similar. It's just instead of Luffy being a bit selfish, Deathbone is more acting to help everyone he can do because he's a hero. But he might go down the dark hero path in the future. So, now we are in what many see as the most important arc of the whole East Blue saga, and that's Arlong Park. This is not a Tekking arc where we get a new crew member, but Nami is officially going to join after we defeat Arlong. But can we defeat Arlong? Now we need to go through the different fights. Usopp still managed to defeat Shu, Sanji still managed to defeat the karate guy, and Zoro still manages to defeat Hachi. Now that still leaves Arlong against Deathbones. In my opinion, Deathbones is stronger than Arlong. Even if Arlong was a pirate in the New World and is not weak, Deathbones still has the advantage of his entire body being like sharp and a weapon. So even if Arlong wants to bite into his body and hurt him, Deathbones can just turn into a weapon, and if Arlong wants to bite into a sword or something like that, he can shatter metal, and we know that he's capable of that, so Deathbones is going to get hurt in this arc, but he will also hurt Arlong in the process. It's like the Pokemon ability Rough Body, because if somebody is just going to bite through a sword and that sword is like cutting your lips, it's going to hurt as well. So in my opinion, it might be a good battle, but Deathbones is still going to win. Arlong Park is going to get cleared, and after that Arlong is also going to get captured probably. His blue haki is not enough to go through the marines, and Deathbones gets his first bounty here. I think it was here or after Logue Town. I'm not sure when Luffy got his first bounty, but it for sure is going to happen that Deathbone gets a bounty. We can just say that he has a similar bounty to Luffy at this stage. 30 million makes total sense, because it's the exact same things that Luffy did, and it's not yet known that Luffy is this grandson of Garb, so there is not much of difference here. Now, Logue Town. Logue Town is a bit problematic, if we take into account the cooking contest from Sanji, and then also the thing against Daddy Masterson from Usopp, those things would take place like normal, and also Zoro getting his new swords. But the biggest problem would be if Buggy wants to return to capture Des Bones and kill him on like this pedestal. Now, would that take place? I'm not entirely sure why Buggy did that. Was it especially because Luffy is connected to Shanks, or was there a bigger reason why he wanted to do that? Let's just go with, even if Des Bones would get captured by Buggy and his people, going onto this pedestal and shackled down, Buggy doesn't have sea stone shackles. So if Des Bones just turns into swords and cuts himself free, he can easily free himself from the situation, and he doesn't even need Dragon's thunder thing to rescue them. Now the question is, can Smoker capture all of them? Would Dragon still be there to capture Des Bones? For convenience sake of continuing the story, we could say yes, he's there because he sees that Des Bones acts like a hero and the world is in need of a hero. Maybe sometime in the future they can work together and the Revolutionary Army can use the infamy or the good deeds done by the hero Des Bones to shake up the world and start a revolution. So in my opinion, Des Bones is a candidate that Dragon would actually save. So we're just going to say Logue Town arc goes similar in a way that Dragon stops Smoker from capturing Des Bones, and then Des Bones, Nami, Usopp, Sanji and Zoro set out into the Grand Line. That's the first saga. And right in the next one, Alabasta, the Reverse Mountain arc. There is going to be the encounter with Laboon. I still think because Des Bones has this entire heroic thing, wanting to help people, he will somehow find a way to stop Laboon from the thing. Maybe he also makes him his rival or something like, you're part of our crew now. I can see a lot of things in this scenario, so I feel like there will be no problem with Laboon. The one thing that I'm not sure of is Crocus did have an interaction that was like, oh, Roger, is that the person you have been waiting for? That person reminded me of Roger. That straw hat is the thing that Roger had. So there are a lot of things that are not happening here, but I don't think that Crocus would be against our party in this sense. He would just be a bit less on their track compared to how he was with the Straw Hats. Whiskey Peak. Now we're entering the first encounter with Baroque Works. So, in this scenario, not only was Zoro meant to be scouted by Baroque Works, but also Des Bones was once meant to be scouted. And both were given the chance to become misters, so very high-ranking members of the crew. But they both denied it, because Des Bones wants to become a hero, and Zoro said, well, if anything, I want to be the leader. And both of those things didn't really fit into the Baroque Works. So, Whiskey Peak, because both of them have experience with that, and Des Bones, I feel like this would be a similar scenario here, because Des Bones wants to see the best in people, so he would still drink with them and have fun, and when he would be asleep and drunk, the people would try to kill him and his other like crew members, but Zoro was a bit more careful, and Zoro would take care of all of them. Des Bones would wake up and see how Zoro defeated all of these people. He still doesn't want to believe that those guys tried to betray him. He wants to see that they're actually good people and maybe they were manipulated. Zoro, you didn't have to be so rough with them. And then we get a battle between Zoro and Des Bones. This could be actually the moment where Zoro manages to cut metal for the first time. So there is scenario for that as well, because the battle between Zoro and Des Bones is very cool. So Zoro is in this scenario already stronger than he was at the current point of Whiskey Peak in the Straw Hat Pirates. And then we have the thing with Mr. Five, the bomb guy, and Miss Valentine's, the woman with the kilo fruits. Nothing here is going to change much. They're still going to get defeated, and we're going to go to Little Garden. Little Garden's Giants. Those guys are technically heroes, well, war heroes, brave warriors of the sea. So I feel like together it would be a similar dynamic with Luffy and Usopp and the Giants, but in this case it's Des Bones and Usopp. So there is a sort of character connection between Des Bones and Usopp as well. Both want to be some sort of hero. One is the brave warrior of the sea and the other is just a hero of the world. And there is also the encounter with Mr. Free, but they can get through that. I mean, there is a reason why Mr. 1 or Des Bones was ranked higher than Mr. 3. So they can get through that, and they manage to defeat Little Garden as well. But Nami still gets sick. So with Vivi also on board since Whiskey Peak, they then continue on after Little Garden to Drum Island, where we meet Chopper the reindeer. And Chopper, let's go through it fast here. Chopper will join. We have the battle against Chess Marimo and also, not Garb. We also have the battle against Wapol. So there's Bones against Wapol. Wapol might try to eat him, but it's going to take care here and Chopper will still have his moments. Death Bones is still going to help the country. He's a hero. Even if Wapol is the king of the country, he doesn't care if somebody is the king. He cares about the people are happy, and that's his whole thing. So, Drum Island, the same as everything, but then we get to the arc where everything might change. Alabasta. Alabasta, the biggest problem is going through the Logia. Every other encounter, because we have all of the crew members. Usopp and Chopper against Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas, big W. Sanji against Mr. 2, or maybe those guys are Mr. 1? Maybe Bon Clay is actually Mr. 1 at this stage, and there's a problem because Mr. 2, Bon Clay, is basically both the Mr. and the Miss part, but then we have Mr. 1, Des Bones, and Miss Double Finger. So maybe Bon Clay and Double Finger are in the 1 part, or they are still 1 and 2, and we have a different Mr. 1. So it's a bit problematic how to see it, but if let's go with that. Everybody just got moved 1 rank up, so there's some sort of Mr. 4 that is not the person that we have seen before. So that means that Bon Clay and Miss Doublefinger are Mr. 1 and their partner. Mr. 2 is the one before Mr. 3, and Mr. 3 and Miss Merry Christmas, Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas are now Mr. 3 and Miss Merry Christmas. And Mr. 4 is somebody. Mr. 4 technically would be the bomb guy, but he already got defeated. So that still leaves the thing that I want to say. Everybody has their opponents, but one guy lost his opponent because he is now the protagonist of the story. Zoro doesn't have an opponent anymore. So Zoro and Des Bones would be together here. And Des Bones is not somebody who says, I need to heroically fight this one-on-one. No, he wants to save Alabasta from being destroyed. He wants to stop this devious plan from Crocodile, who hurt all of these people. So together with Zoro, he's going to battle against Crocodile. It's going to be a 2 versus 1, and I think together they can manage to do it, especially if Crocodile is going to hurt them. They have the chance to use the blood on their body in a similar way that Luffy used the water. And because blood is similar to water, they can still hurt the Logia Devil Fruits. And with that, I feel like they can manage to defeat Crocodile, especially because he would underestimate them just like he did with Luffy. Now, he might not be as arrogant compared to Luffy because he both wanted Zoro and Des Bones once into his Baroque works, but we all know that he's not going to be like entirely honest and just do whatever he wants, and so I feel like together those guys can defeat our boy Crocodile. And here we actually managed to get into the third saga, Sky Islands. Now Goat Island and Ruluka Island are filler arcs, but Jaya, we have a battle against Bellamy. Now, how is this going to turn out? Bellamy is not weak, it was just that Luffy is way stronger. And if we go from Crocodile to Bellamy, I still think this is going to be a very important moment. The entire scenario is going to go very different to the Straw Hats, especially because Luffy wanted to do the whole Shanks moment of being like, his crew got mocked by Bellamy and these other things. Bellamy is the same as in Ken's story. And I feel like Des Bones would even care less about getting, if he gets mocked. But he doesn't stand if his crew members and his friends are getting, looked down upon. So he might act first against Bellamy. Or if anything, later down the line when he does the whole thing with Mr. Cricket, Mr. Des Bones is going to do the same thing and attack Bellamy and win against him easily. But then we get into Skypiea. Sadly, I just learned that steel and even stainless steel conduct electricity. So yes, we can defeat all of the ordeals, but there will be a problem against Enel. And then I would probably say the story could end here, but there is also a high likelihood that if Zoro technically awakened Observation Haki in a stage already on Alabasta, there could be a similar thing that unknowingly Des Bones also used Armament Haki against Enel, but that would be a bit of a stretch. The problem is, if I don't say that he can do that, nobody will ever get past Skypiea. Because Enel is just that powerful. There's no chance to defeat Enel unless you might have some sort of rubber to isolate the electricity and getting through it. So Enel himself is not the best warrior. So if Luffy won against him in combat department, Deathbones can do the same thing. Especially if he trained his swordsmanship further and further against Zoro. And together with a tiny bit of armament haki that we can give him at this stage, it's not stupid to think that he already has some sort of armament haki, especially that because in Jaya, Blackbeard already said that Luffy has some sort of haki in him, because Jaya is a stage where haki was already mentioned. So there is a chance that even if unconsciously, Deathbones does have haki, and he manages to use it maybe in a moment where he has some sort of heroic monologue and he's like, I cannot let this island get destroyed. I need to save these people. Here, take this heroic cutter! And he manages to defeat Enel just like that. And that's Sky Island. Water 7. Technically, we're going far here. So, Long Ring, Longland, I don't see any problem how we get through that. Then there are 2 filler arcs, and then Water 7. Deathbones is a hero, so he's still seen with the entire bounty thing, and after Alabasta and defeating Crocodile, he's going to have a higher bounty as well. So he is seen as a criminal, even if he's only doing good things. Then there is the question, if technically because Luffy does all these things, they could technically offer Deathbones a position as a Warlord of the Sea. And I don't see why he wouldn't accept that. Oh yeah, at the end of Alabasta, also Robin would join us. Robin would definitely join us. So, Water 7, I just remembered Robin would join us because she's important for Water 7 at Enies Lobby. But that begs the question, if Deathbones gets recruited as a member of the World of the Sea, would he accept that offer? Because if we think about it, he wants to be a hero. A World of the Sea is somebody who can do pirate things, but can also help the people in the world because they are connected to the world government. But he has seen the corruption of the world government in multiple parts of the world already. So I feel like even if at this stage of the story Deathbones would get offered the entire thing of World of the Sea, he would not accept it because he knows he has to deal with these problems himself. Instead of becoming the classic hero supported by the government, he would be more like a vigilante and try to do the things himself. So some point down the line, the Revolutionary Army would actually contact him and they might form some sort of alliance. Water 7 would be the exact same thing. Just like Luffy, Deathbones wouldn't be able to defeat all of the CP9 members just in Water 7. So that would still lead to Robin getting captured and the entire thing with Iceberg, the place getting burnt down, and then the chase happening on the train. The train arc happens like normal. Zoro has a small encounter with our hero and legend, T-Bone. So there is a lot of things that are still happening here. But the question is, how can Deathbones defeat Lucci and Bruno if he doesn't have Gear 2nd? Now, his ability is the Super no Mi. It's an ability where your body can turn into steel blades. So if at the start he can only turn into normal steel and then later down the line maybe he just is able to go into stainless steel mode, which is just harder sort of steel. So he's going to grow stronger in the Devil Fruit department as well, but compared to a Gear 2nd, that's a minor increase. So the one point where Deathbones is going to grow stronger would be his endurance and also his defense that is going to rise, his offense that is going to rise. The stainless steel mode is going to be an increase in all these stats besides speed, so he could technically train for speed as well, and then he has to focus on training his swordsman style, his full body swordsman style. So he just has to become a better swordsman, and then it's going to be problematic how he's going to win against Lucci. I feel like this might be the moment where we have to stop. I know, we could go further, we could go into the Summit War arc, we could go to Fishman Island, Dressrosa, Whole Cake, Wano, and even into the final saga. But I think going beyond Lucci and CP9 is going to be hard. But then we need to think that everybody managed to defeat their things. Frankie wins, Zoro wins, Sanji wins, Nami wins. Even Robin gets freed by Frankie and the other people. That means that all of these guys are still safe, and we don't care about Usopp even if he turns into the Great Saiyaman or whatever he's called. So there is the thing that maybe it's going to be everybody against Lucci scenario, but I'm not sure how all of this is going to turn out. I feel like Bones in this stage would not be able to win against Lucci, similar to how I would say that Zoro wouldn't be able to win against Lucci in a 1 versus 1. But if they pile onto him as a group, they might be able to do it. So if you want to see how this would continue if Bones manages to defeat Lucci and continues into the further sagas, you can leave a comment saying that you want to see it, and I will do that in the future. But then something else. I will make this scenario with what if a random character took Luffy's place more in the future as well. And you saw me use the Pokemon selection method with left, middle and right of starter Pokemon. So in the future, for the next part of this series, if it's not about Bones but a new character, you can already tell me in the comments below if I should pick the left character, the middle character or the right character. And even if you don't know which character that is, you will decide which one will be the next character. But that's all from me for today. All that's left to be said is stay happy, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay cultured. Pyro, out. Have a random day.